Fox News contributor Mary Katharine Ham's husband, Jake Brewer.
34-year-old Jake Brewer, who worked in the White House.
He was killed in a bicycle accident while doing something for others.
We were together not because of our politics or because we thought this was a cute branding idea, but because we believed that people are more than their politics. And one of the things that makes me feel better is telling his story. So I stood up and talked about it, and I wrote about it, and I tried to make sense of something. I'm never going to make sense of what happened that one day, but I can make sense of our lives and our future and our daughters. So that's what I've tried to do.
I think we're at a very unique moment in journalism and in media right now, because there's more media outlets than there have ever been before. But in many cases, there are less facts and less journalism than there's ever been before. We have a lot of analysis, a lot of takes, a lot of talking heads, but not many people actually pounding the pavement now, talking to real people.
Grab your stuff, let's go.
I'm working on it.
Stop videotaping, let's grab our stuff and go.
Someone right to videotape you, sir?
Hurry up, let's go.
Please don't leave her good on me.
Let's go.
For me, being, especially a black man thrust into a story like this, it was important. Michael Brown was only several years younger than me. It looked like a kid who actually reminded me of one of my younger brother's friends who might be in my basement playing video games one day, right? I come into that story with a different level of humanization and understanding of the people who are being covered. My job is a devotion to the truth.
There's a lot that we can do, and this is where I feel there's opportunity. Yes, there's great frustration right now, both in Congress and in our communities across the country, at the lack of action, at the lack of really having people who understand that we are Americans first, putting the partisan politics to the side, and not leaving idealism and principles at the door, but having respectful and sincere conversations and saying, how can we best serve our country?
I think that as Americans, we have a lot of serious challenges that we have to face and tackle together, and we're going to have serious disagreements about how best to accomplish that, but we can't accomplish it if we are unable to talk to each other, and if we assume the worst about each other, and if we are constantly trying to shut down discussions by impugning everyone's motives and calling them all sorts of names. It's making the country a less free place to live, and also, frankly, a less fun place to live.
Scary. A group of, quote, stuffy old men who are out of touch with an increasingly diverse country. Well, Republican officials today say the party's come a long way. And Orlando Watson is the communications director for black media at the Republican National Committee.
We're starting to have a conversation with key stakeholders in the community where we just haven't had that before. But it's working.
The gentleman is recognized for 15 seconds.
We're here to answer one question for the people we represent. Do we oppose the suspicionless collection of every American's phone records?
Republican Congressman Justin Amash offered an amendment that would have stripped funding for much of this program. It was narrowly defeated by the House last week.
When you had the chance to stand up for Americans' privacy, did you? Please support the Amash Amendment and oppose the NSA's blanket surveillance of our constituents.
The gentleman's time has expired.
People expect their politicians now to take serious messages, to take serious policy, and to deliver it to them in a way that they can read through this device. Through memes, through web videos, through personal Facebook posts, through short, pithy tweets. Every study out there shows people now use the internet more than they watch television. The strategy and the number one problem that people have in politics is just getting their information across to somebody. How do you reach somebody at all? How do you break through? And that news and information has to be entertaining, it's got to be interesting, and it's got to be different than how everyone else is communicating.